Yeah, here's another video. It's been a lot longer than I kind of initially figured it would be, uh, but that's okay. It's August 20th, and I think it was May 25th I made the last one. Um, it's funny, I was going to make this the other day, and then I thought, well, I should probably watch the other one first just to see what I said, because I really had no idea. And it's a good thing I did, but point in hand this morning, or I guess yesterday, I went and I got some groceries. I got some coffee creamer, put it away in the fridge, and I put it away, and I thought, I don't remember where this goes in the fridge. Anyway, so then this morning, made coffee. I go to the fridge, and I'm like, ah, shit, I don't have any coffee creamer again. But I thought I just bought some. Anyway, went about getting coffee, and then it turns out there was coffee creamer. I just put it in a different spot because I couldn't remember where it went. And then anyway, turns out I have a spot that I put it, and muscle memory this morning worked. So anyway, watch the video. Here's another one. And actually, it was neat. I saw some people ended up watching the other one, which I didn't really anticipate. I just kind of, I don't know, put it on the internet to get shit off my mind. So that's what I'm doing again. But since the last one, it's been a good summer. At that time, I got a dose of this drug, and this week I got the 4th dose, and right now it is working really well. So as of this week, I'm taking 4 weeks off of my treatment, essentially for the first time in my life. So, that's exciting. There's some other complications that I'm not going to get into today, that I'm kind of working through to see what happens. But anyway, I'll touch on that again later. But today I wanted to touch more on a couple other things. So it's funny, I was talking about a Venn diagram in the last one briefly, which I also completely forgot about since then. But I'm very consistent in the sense that I was thinking about a different yet similar Venn diagram as of more recently. So I'm going to touch on that in a second, only because it kind of ties into the second thing that really I've been thinking about a lot more. So anyway, this Venn diagram, it's kind of a based around understanding, acceptance, and fear, I guess, are the 3 components. And I've been kind of thinking about it in context of largely in my health, but then also kind of brushing that over into communicating with others. So I guess relationship context in, various types of relationships. So it's very with my health specifically, there is a limited, I guess, amount of understanding with that. So even like with myself, with medical professionals specifically, it's very complex, and there aren't always answers for things. So with that being said, it's hard enough for me to accept that, let alone other people. And, I've been doing it my whole life. So what I find, being that there is a cap on the understanding component, the acceptance and fear are kind of the 2 that you have to manipulate or to work on, right? And I think that acceptance is a lot harder than fear, because, at least in my experience, fear is kind of the initial response or reaction. And I think that really, as people in general, when we don't understand things very well, fear is a natural response. Um, so anyway, all of this to say, I've been playing with the concept of sitting in the rain, and essentially the rain is whatever type of, I don't know, shit you're working with or working through. And what I find, again, just kind of as in people in general, when you see someone that you care about sitting in the rain, it's our, I don't know, I guess instinct almost to offer them the umbrella, whether it's our umbrella or any umbrella, just some type of help to try and just get that rain off of them, right? Get them out of it and make them feel better, I guess, ultimately. But in doing that, it's an interesting little dynamic that I didn't really anticipate, is when you offer or are offered an umbrella and you decline, that has some negative consequences on both sides. So that has a rejection response to the person who's offering help. And then that can have a guilt response to the person who's being offered help. i.e., if you say, here's my umbrella, and I say no, that can hurt your feelings, which, I mean, that sucks on both parties, right? One, then you've got hurt feelings. Two, then I feel bad for hurting feelings. And it's this weird little cat and mouse game that, I don't know, I guess it's just I find it odd. But anyway, a useful term I've been recently kind of brought to my attention, it was to check if the guilt is serving you. So I quite like that. Sometimes, really most things, like guilt, hurt, even happiness, is just a feeling, and it's just to bring your awareness to something. So just because you have it doesn't mean that it's there, for any purpose or positive purpose anyway. So being able to just let that go, I think, is a skill that I'm working on right now. And not to say, like, don't care about people's emotions, but especially in my health context, it's hard to really operate in emotional mind. And pretty much all the fucking time, I'm in rational mind, taking in information, trying to consider different things, whatever, basically try to process things so I can just carry about my day instead of being fucking sad all the time. That has communication practice with others, right? I don't know if I just think a little differently than most people or whatever, but it seems like most people don't want to sit in the rain themselves, whereas I find that I do. And I think, partially because my reality is it's never going to stop raining. It's just there. And I think most people and most situations, there's an associated time frame, whether or not we know how long that is or how long it may be. There's this expectation that it'll come and it'll go. There's an ebb and there's a flow, and things will pass, which is typically true. But like I said, in context for myself, it's things aren't going to get easier. So I find it very beneficial to sit in those thoughts, and in doing so, I think because understanding has a capacity, if I shelter myself from those thoughts, I'm not going to accept them. I'm not forced to accept them because I can just blunt them out. I can distract myself, and it's like, look at this shiny thing and whatever, that shit will just go away. But it's not going away, so it doesn't benefit me to ignore them. And I think that that's hard for other people to participate with. You know, it's, I think it's hard for someone to sit under their own umbrella beside someone who's sitting in the rain. And myself included, for sure, at times, like with other people and, you know, their own things. But I feel like I've definitely gotten better at, like, you know, sometimes life just fucking sucks. Sometimes it's really fucking hard. And that's, you know, that's it. There's not always, you know, oh, well, do this thing and it's all better. It's like, no, you know what? This is going to suck for a while. There's reality, you know. I don't think it's a bad thing to just sit in that for a while. And I think that maybe it's just because of, you know, practice, forced practice in my, you know, in my life or whatever, with different situations. But I've had a lot of circumstances that haven't really been within my control to do anything about, aside from just keep going, which is basically where that whole sort of thing comes from for me. But yeah, I don't really remember where I was going with that. Anyway, I think it's my hope in, we're really in a relationship context specifically, is to decrease the amount of fear and increase the amount of acceptance. You know, what I'm finding is I don't care to take out my own umbrella and offer it to other people with regards to things revolving around my own health and well-being. You know, I don't want to band-aid somebody else for my shit. You know, it's energy I feel wasted, and it's just, I don't know, for the most part, I don't want to do it. So it's been a struggle for me to kind of navigate that without being kind of too abrasive. I find, as I said, when you see someone who you perceive to be struggling, right? I think it's an important distinction to make, is when you hear about someone else's situation or circumstances and you have never been in a similar situation yourself, all we can do as people is just imagine ourselves and what we perceive that situation to be like. And oftentimes, well, not oftentimes, I would say almost 100% of the time, you're way fucking wrong, because you have no idea what it's like. We can't, right? You don't have the range to know. You've never been there. And so oftentimes we assume it's really bad. And then in a way of self-soothing, we offer help to make them feel better, so that we feel better, that the person that we care about isn't hurting per se. And anyway, I don't think that's always an option, and it's not something that I really care to get a lot of the time. You know, it's like, I don't need a pat on the back to say, oh, it's okay or whatever. Like, yeah, like I fucking know, like, whatever. But not to say it's not helpful sometimes, but that's something else I struggle with a little bit, is making the distinction between, will this benefit me now to accept the help or this umbrella, in a sense, for now or not? And yeah, navigating that conversation isn't easy. So I'm curious, I guess, well, it's been a while here already, I've been talking for a bit. At the end of the day, I'm curious how other people think and how other people process through their own things. It seems quite obvious to me that I maybe don't process things as the majority of people might. Not to say everybody processes the same way, because obviously they don't. But it seems like me being in rational mind a lot of the time confuses people, or it's hard for people to wrap their head around, what's going on. And I think most of the time we would offer others whatever we would rather have ourselves, right? Like we can offer help how we would want to be helped, and sometimes that's helpful, sometimes it's not. But yeah, again, I don't really remember where I was going, but just getting this kind of off my mind again, and this whole concept to tie like I said, understanding and acceptance versus a fear thing. It's not necessarily as simple as being scared of me, but being scared of the unknown things about me essentially is being scared of me. And it's an odd thing to have people be fearful of you, it's, anyway, this may be for another video, but yeah, at the end of the day, I'm curious, do you allow yourself the time, I guess, and exposure to whatever your version of rain is when it's raining? Or do you just kind of instinctively take out an umbrella and wait for it to pass? Like maybe I'm doing this as a form of, I don't know, distraction, right? Or a self-soothing in a sense to me too. It's I'm sure there's a lot of layers to that. Like I said, I've been dealing with things for a lot of years, so obviously people develop mechanisms to whatever process through and carry on. But yeah, anyway, if you're watching this, I guess you could leave a comment or message me, whatever, I don't know. But yeah, I'm curious, just your thoughts in general. Do you sit with the hard shit, or do you avoid it? And I guess why? Either way, do you find it beneficial either way? What has been something you've done, maybe both, or how do you navigate these relationships with other people? Because like I said, it's hard for other people to accept the fact that there's nothing they can do to help someone. It makes them feel uncomfortable, and it's a weird little dynamic, like someone else is doing something or having a hard time, and then now it's causing you to have a hard time because you feel helpless. It's like, well, doesn't that other person feel helpless, and now aren't you the fucking dick for feeling helpless and then not letting them know? Like, anyway, it's complicated shit. And yeah, anyway, maybe that's just me. Welcome to my mind. But till next time, just let me know, I guess.